Welcome to Influential Entrepreneurs, bringing you interviews with elite business leaders and experts, sharing tips and strategies for elevating your business to the next level. Here's your host, Mike Saunders.
Hello and welcome to this episode of Influential Entrepreneurs. This is Mike Saunders, the Authority Positioning Coach. Today we have with us Randi Karpinia, who's the CEO of Sagacity Legal. Randi, welcome to the program.
Thank you for having me, and hello, everybody.
Hey, and I want to start off with what is a sagacity? I mean, it really is something where sometimes there's words that mean something, so define sagacity for us.
Oh, thank you so much, because the name of my firm is really important to me, but most people don't even, like you said, realize what it means. So sagacity means wise and prone to evaluating information before making a decision, the trait of solid judgment and intelligent choices. And that defines me and my firm and the way I work with my clients.
You know, you would certainly, I mean, I love that, and I love the choice of word because I like unique words that when there's a meaning and it kind of makes you go, well, what in the world is that? And then now when you say that, it's like, oh, yeah, that's really cool. And I would hope that an attorney, a law firm would have or were prone to evaluating before making a decision, and you would hope that that would be the case. And so I love that that becomes like kind of like your guiding principle.
Yes, thank you. Thank you. Put a lot of thought into it. And of course, as an IP attorney, wanted to make sure my firm was made something that I could trademark.
Yes. Awesome. So give us a little bit of your background. What has your entrepreneurial journey been like to this point, obviously in the legal profession, but what led you to this, and then how has building a business been for you?
Yeah, and I totally think of myself as a legalpreneur, which is one of the reasons I love working with small businesses and entrepreneurs. So I have aged myself over 20 years of legal experience in-house at a big corporate America company, and loved what I did. But during the last portion, maybe the last 5 or 6 years that I was there, my whole role was working with acquired small businesses. So the big company needs a technology or needs some service, and we would acquire, and I would go in and work with these small businesses. And I started to realize whether there were 3 people or 3,000 people, whether they were 30 years old or 3 years old, they all were lacking that guidance that a legal consultant or a legal partner could have provided to them. So there was a lot of, I don't want to call it cleanup work, but a lot of having to teach and guide at what should have started earlier. So that was the entirety of my market research, and made the decision to give up my big paycheck job and become an entrepreneur myself.
I love it. You hear that so many times with, hey, I noticed this, and then I felt like things shouldn't be that way, so I'm going to fix it. So I love that, and it made me think of something really interesting that I just saw yesterday online, where someone was talking about when people push back on your fees. Like this person, this consultant was talking about, they got a call from someone talking about, well, your fees are so high and your competitor is low. And the consultant was talking about, yeah, but we've got this and we go really deep on this. And they're like, okay, well, I'm going to go with the low price guy, that kind of a thing. And then a few months later, they come running back going, they did not deliver and you need to help me. And now that consultant's fee went up, not being vindictive, but because what you just said, they had to clean up the mess that the other person had made so that they can now begin. So I think that that's a really interesting perspective, is when you, like, for instance, people needing legal help, entrepreneurs need to have a little sagacity, which is, let me make a wise decision in choosing legal help, because if you make the wrong decision, maybe it's not horribly wrong, but you might need to fill in the gaps. And then what are you going to pay, or what are you going to find? Who are you going to find to fix that? And then now do it the right way.
Yeah, and that's so true. I always say, do it right or do it over later, fix it later. And I'm going to add to not just the cost of corrective action. Sometimes you can't, right? Sometimes it's nothing to do with legal fees. In my field of intellectual property, it could be a loss of an opportunity.
Yes.
You know, you only have, for example, if you're patenting an invention, you have 12 months from when you launch, and that's it. So you lose that opportunity. But more importantly, the clients that come to me with a legal problem, the mindset, they are upset, they are stressed, they are worried about everything they've done. So there's a confidence of protecting from the beginning, of doing it right from the beginning or early on, versus this very stressful mode that you get in when something does legally go wrong.
Yeah. And, you know, it sounds almost, I don't know what the word is, but, you know, when someone in your position says, well, yeah, but what if something goes wrong? And they're like, oh, you're just trying to bully me into doing something now. No, I'm not. I'm trying to just say, here's some things that have happened. I can point you in this direction. Look it up yourself. Here's a company that did this or didn't do this, and here's what happened. And it's not like, oh, one day the sky might fall. You know, that's unlikely. Well, what is likely is maybe this expires, or maybe this was filed the wrong way, or maybe this. And now when you can give a real scenario, it's like, let's just get it done right. Let's just check that box. And now you can, quote unquote, sleep at night and feel like, okay, I've got some things handled.
Exactly. And I do have clients, I will talk not about just what's in the news, but real world examples without, of course, breaking confidentiality.
Yeah.
But, you know, with my clients, I'll say, look, we can do this or we can wait, but look this is what happened to another of my clients. Yep. And because I see both ends, you know, those that come after the fact and those that come from the beginning, it really helps with the decision-making of those that are trying to protect what they've done.
So you say that every business needs legal protection. Now, that's a pretty broad category, but you kind of focus on IP and unique approaches. So why do business owners need to worry about protecting, you know, their unique approaches or things within their business?
Yeah, because there's so much to the law that people don't think of. But most importantly, you know, I like to say protect your uniqueness. And maybe that's partly because of the arena being intellectual property, patents, copyright, and trademark, which I focus on. But, you know, think of it this way. I know that you work with people on authority positioning. Well, as a business or as a person becomes more and more of a authority, more and more of a go-to expert, the more they become popular, the more they become successful, that uniqueness, what they created, that authority that they created, whether it be product, service, content, method, brand, you name it, that is defining their success. And the more successful they become, the more vulnerable they become to copying. And
copying and attention that they might not want. And you hear that a lot on Shark Tank, where maybe depending on the industry, maybe one of the sharks says, I would love to jump in here with you, but because you are not FDA approved or whatever the case is, me putting my name as part of the company would draw attention to you, and we could be a magnet for whatever. So I think that's a really good point that you bring up. And whether it's a magnet for lawsuits or whether it's just copying and swiping and stealing, there's a lot of things that could come up that need to have some, you know, protection.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I've seen everything from somebody attaching themselves to a person, to a person who is growing in popularity and authority, and somebody else, a different business, indicating that this person was, you know, that they were part of that organization or part of that program, to downright, unprotected inventions or content or programs just being out and out copied. And as you said, the other side of it is the more financially viable your business becomes, the more likely that you could be a target for infringement of other people's content.
Yes. Well, let's think about what are some of the things that businesses should protect, but they don't think of right off the bat. You know, like hey, I have this invention and it fixes the world's problem of whatever, obviously you need to protect something like that. But I'll bet that there's some things that are in a business that a business owner would go, wow, never thought about needing to protect that.
Yeah, that's a great question. And I think most, and I don't want to be derogatory, but most small business owners don't realize how much they need to protect.
Yes.
So my clients know I'm really opposed to like people that do DIY protection because they're all over the internet. You can figure out how to do things yourself, but there's certain things right from the beginning, and this is why I'm kind of a legal consultant. Many of what I recommend, both to my clients and what I publish on social media and my blog and things like that, are activities or actions of protection that a business owner can do today by themselves. And the first is what I call no trespassing signs. So even if you're not for sure ready to do the legal protections like a copyright registration or a trademark registration or a patent, there are many things that you can do today to tell the world, hey, this is mine and those are my no trespassing signs. And marking your content, your website, your ebooks with copyright notices, marking your taglines, logos, business names with a TM or an SM saying, hey, this is mine, I claim it, whether I've registered it or not.
Right.
Having good terms and conditions. All of those are things that business owners can do today. They don't need, they might need some legal guidance, but it's things they can do very reasonably just to get started.
That's a really good point. And, I also would say from a marketing standpoint that if an entrepreneur has specific processes in their business, like for instance, I teach this so many times when I work with clients, and I say, hey, you might think you've been doing business 20 years and you just do it this way because it's the way to do it. And yay, that's good. And you don't see the unbelievable, unique value of this thing, right? This way, this process, and you just think that it's just getting things done. But in reality, if you were to, survey and talk to your clients, they would exclaim to you, wow, we just thought that it would be so hard, but look at this, it was so easy, or it was so, revealing that this solution came about. The point is, you should name and quantify and call your process something. Oh, well, we've got the, blah, blah, blah blueprint. We've got the proprietary method called Boom. And I love how you do that with your program called IP Lockdown. And that's exactly what I was saying there is, in order for people to fully understand what you do, you need to make it simple and clear and precise and concise. And you might think that you're clear, but maybe you're not. So call your process and each step something. Well, if that's the case and you do that, good. Now your messaging is clearer, but then maybe there needs to be some protection around that.
Absolutely. And there's two sides to the protection, by the way, because you may come up with that great phrase, that great description, like you said. And yes, I have a trademark application pending for IP Lockdown. Of course I do. But the problem comes in when you haven't checked if somebody else already owns it.
Yeah.
So there's two steps. There's one, yes, getting that absolute great brand, which from a marketing standpoint is needed. But then on the other hand, making sure it's available. And just because it's available today doesn't mean it's going to be available tomorrow, because the first person to file in the trademark office wins, right? So you not only need to come out with your great brand, your great logos, your phrases, your product names, but then you need to make sure that you're not going to be the subject of an infringement suit. And secondly, then, okay, great, it's available, grab it, trademark it.
Yeah. Yeah, that's really good. And then guess what? Let's say that you do every step we talked about. Hey, I've got a neat proprietary process. I'm going to name it something and I'm going to protect it. Do you just tuck that away in your digital archives? Oh, my word, no. You now need to make that front and center and let people know that that is one of my favorite words, competitive advantages. So now it just gets into, don't just let you have the proper protection, talk about it, because then that helps differentiate yourself and separate yourself from the competition.
Absolutely. And, something just came to mind that I think a lot of people don't think about is those differentiators, those actual IP assets, increase the value of your business. They're actually intangible assets that add, so investors or if you're taking a loan out in a bank, these are all actual assets, just like your computers or your office space, that are useful to increase the value of your business.
I agree. And in fact, I call what I do with clients authority positioning assets, the same way that you're talking about, because the way that I explain it is, if you were to set up a Facebook ad campaign or a Google ad campaign and you're promoting some event or whatever, you pay Google or Facebook, and then as soon as you stop paying the campaign, poof, it goes away. Gone. You don't see, remnants of that. But when you build authority positioning assets or marketing assets, they're there forever. And those assets are things that you can talk about. So the perfect example of what you just mentioned, when you get that, proprietary method, that, the thing that you do in your business, and then you protect it, well, now it becomes an asset, and, it makes your business a little bit more valuable, A, if you're looking to sell it, but B, when you're looking to sell products or services to your client base. Not that you're going to create a name, trademark it, and then quadruple your prices. No, but it should make you as the entrepreneur, business owner, feel like, you know what? I've got a proprietary process here, and it delivers results. And look, my clients are happy and raving fans and testimonials. So that's another byproduct of this, is this IP uniqueness protection has some various levels of manifestations of benefit to the entrepreneur.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
So let's say that someone goes, great point. I agree. Where do they start? What should they do first?
They call me, of course.
Right. Of course.
So, we said earlier, every business needs legal protection, and I know you got that off the front of my website, and I really believe that. And it doesn't have to be me, obviously, but it is really important for an entrepreneur, small business owner, to find a legal partner. I like to think of myself as a legal consultant or a partner, because it's a long-term relationship. And many times it's just having, almost an overview. My IP lockdown program actually does that. I go in and I actually go through a full, evaluation of what there is. But it doesn't have to be that. It can be, I think I have this proprietary method. Is it protectable? And getting that security, again, I think you said it earlier, sleeping at night, by having an attorney that can help you. I'm not saying it, and I say this all the time to potential clients that I'm talking to. It's not because I need the business or I'm selling the business, selling my services. It's because it's important to the entrepreneur to know that, just like you and I have accountants to do our financials, having an attorney who understands what should be done, what should be in place, and helping, hold hands and educating. It's a really important first step.
Yes. Well, Randi, I really appreciate your time and really learned a lot. And I think that if anyone is interested in taking the first step, they should reach out and connect with you. So what's the best way that they can contact you?
Yeah, so I like to say I'm everywhere. Maybe I'm not. My website, sagacitylegal.com, has a number of ways that you can make an appointment directly with me, or I have a great blog that would be great for people to follow. I'm big on education, so my website's a good place to start, or social media. I post numerous times a week with tips and ideas on LinkedIn and Facebook. And I've now started a YouTube channel, so subscribe to Sagacity Legal YouTube channel. And there's already dozens of videos up, very short, some of them are a bunch of 1-minute videos, just to start getting yourself educated to what it means to protect your business.
I love it. Good. Thank you so much, Randi. I appreciate you coming on today.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
You've been listening to Influential Entrepreneurs with Mike Saunders. To learn more about the resources mentioned on today's show or listen to past episodes, visit www.influentialentrepreneursradio.com.